In Lesson 8.1, Day 2, Examples 5 through 8, you will combine like terms to simplify algebraic expressions. When plus or minus signs separate an algebraic expression into parts, each part is called a term. The numerical factor of a term that contains a variable is called the coefficient of the variable. So like right here, these are called terms. Negative 4x is a term, 12 is a term, and x is a term. Negative 4 is a coefficient, as well as in front of this x right here would be a 1. The coefficient of this term would be 1. Like terms are terms that contain the exact same variables to the same powers. For example, 3x squared and negative 7x squared are like terms because they both are x squareds. 8xy squared and 12xy squared are also like terms because they have the exact same variable part. Now 10x squared z and 22xz squared are not like terms. Even though they have the same variables, they have different exponents, so therefore they are not like terms. They need to be exactly the same. The variable part needs to be exactly the same, including the exponents to be like terms. Now a term without a variable is called a constant. So up here, 12 would be a constant. All constants are also like terms. So the first thing we're going to do is identify the terms, like terms, coefficients, and constants in an expression. So the terms of this expression are the pieces that are separated by addition or subtraction. So the terms are 6n. This is going to be a negative 7n. Negative 4, and n. Now the reason why I put a negative 7n and a negative 4 is because subtracting, remember, is like adding the opposite, or plus a negative. So that's really a negative 7n and a negative 4. Now the like terms are the terms that have the exact same variable part. So our like terms would be the 6n, the negative 7n, and the n. Coefficients, remember, are the numbers in front of the variables. So the coefficients we have are 6, negative 7, and in front of this would be a 1. So if there's no number in front of the variable, it's a 1. And then our constant, remember, is the terms without a variable part. So our constant in this expression is negative 4. You may want to pause the video and try the next one on your own. The terms are 9y, negative 4, because remember that's like plus a negative, negative 11y, and 7. The like terms are the terms that have the exact same variable part or the constants. So the like terms are 9y and negative 11y. Those are like terms. And then also negative 4 and 7 are like terms. Constants are like terms because they don't have a variable part, so they're the same as well. Coefficients, remember, are the numbers in front of the variable, so our coefficients are 9 and negative 11. It's not going to be negative 4 or 7 because they do not have a variable part. Those are our constants, the parts without a variable, so our constants are negative 4 and 7. All right, what we're going to do next is simplify algebraic expressions by combining like terms. To combine like terms, you add the coefficients of the like terms together. So, to simplify the expression 4y plus y, I would start by putting a 1 in front of the y. And if I take 4y and add 1y to it, we end up with a total of 5y. So again, you add the coefficients and then keep the variable part. So 5y. Next, we have 7x minus 2 minus 7x plus 6. Since this one is a little more complex, I'm going to go through and put different shapes around the like terms. So the 7x is going to go with this negative 7x. When we combine like terms, you always have to include the sign that's in front of each term. Remember, subtracting 7x is like adding a negative 7x. So we're going to go ahead and take 7x plus a negative 7x. When you add those together, 7 plus a negative 7 is 0. 0x is just 0, so we're not even going to write anything down for that. Now we're going to move on to the negative 2 or the minus 2. Remember, minus 2 is like plus a negative 2. So negative 2 plus 6. You always include the sign in front of each term. So negative 2 plus 6, when we put those together, that's going to end up being a positive 4. You may want to pause the video and try the next two on your own. 4z minus 1z. Like terms, we have 4z and we have a negative 1z. If I take 4z and add a negative 1z, I end up with 3z. In our next problem, I'm going to start with the variable terms, and I have a negative 3n. Remember, always include that sign in front of the term. Negative 3n and a positive 3n. Negative 3n plus 3n is going to be 0n, so that disappears. And then we're left with just 6. So we end up with 6 when we simplify that expression. Now this last one is a little bit more complex. Let's go ahead and start with the 2g. 2g is going to go with this negative 8g. Remember to include the sign in front. 2g plus a negative 8g is a negative 6g, because 2 plus a negative 8 is negative 6, and then you just attach the variable on. So negative 6g. Now let's move on to our constants. We have a negative 3. Don't forget the sign in front. So negative 3 and a positive 11. So negative 3 plus a positive 11. Negative 3 plus 11, that's going to be a positive 8. So negative 6g plus 8. I cannot do any more because these two things are not like terms. So my final answer is going to be left as two separate terms with the plus sign in between. So negative 6g plus 8. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to write an expression from a word problem and then combine like terms if needed to simplify it. It says, at a concert you buy some souvenir t-shirts for $12 each and the same number of CDs for $7.50 each. Write an expression in simplest form that represents the total amount spent. Well, if X stands for the number of t-shirts and CDs that you buy, each t-shirt is $12. So $12 times X, the number that you buy, plus you're going to buy the same number of CDs, and they're $7.50 each. So $7.50 times X would be the cost of the CDs. Now these two things are like terms since they're both being multiplied by the same thing, which is X. So 12X plus 750X You're going to add the coefficients, and you're going to end up with 1950x. So here's the expression in simplest form that represents the total amount spent. You may want to pause the video and try the last one on your own. You have saved some money. Your friend has saved $50 less than you. Write an expression in simplest form that represents the total amount of money you and your friend have saved. Well, the total amount of money is going to be my money plus my friend's money. Well, my money, I don't know how much I've saved, so let's call it M. That's the amount of money I saved. So M is the amount of money I saved. And now my friend has saved 50 less than me. So 50 less than you is going to be M minus 50, because I saved 50 and then, or sorry, saved M, and then your friend saved 50 less than that. So M minus 50. And when we add those two things together, so here's my money plus my friend's money, those two things together is going to be our total. Now to combine like terms, if there's no coefficient on the variable, it's a 1. And now I'm going to put like terms together. I have 1m here plus 1m here. That's a total of 2m's. And then the minus 50 is by itself. So 2m minus 50 is the total money we have saved.